looking to try something new for me. I know that it's not a totally novel idea. I've seen plenty of similar videos where basically the props are ranked by tiers, and this is based on how good the props are. That's not exactly what I'm trying to do. Just trying to go through all 4 major box stores that have given us little previews. We have up top right, as you can see, the Lowe's lineup. Underneath that, we have Home Depot. Underneath that, Party City. And to the bottom left, we have Spirit Halloween. So this is purely stuff that I plan to get or probably get versus most likely not getting or definitely not getting. And just because I put something lower as maybe a definitely not getting doesn't mean I don't like the prop. It just means either it doesn't go with one of my themes, or it could mean I don't like the prop, or I might like the prop, but it's just maybe too kid friendly, or, you know, not something I would probably use this season. A good example might even be, you know, from Spirit Halloween. They put out that alien prop, the Death Ray prop, and even though I do think he's really cool, I don't have an alien theme to put him in. Not to say I couldn't make him work in another location, but just purely because of that fact, there's a possibility that I will not be getting him, even though I do like him. I'll talk a little bit about props as I go. I definitely don't have all the names memorized, so, you know, I'm not going to be calling them by name as much just yet. Too early in the season for me to remember all that, and there's quite a bit released to go through. So these are in no particular order, just really by store, but then from within each store, we're going to just start sorting into one of these 5 categories and see how it goes. Let's get started. We have our 12-footer first, and I do like him. When I first saw him, he kind of was a must-have prop, but I did see the demo video, and I'm not in love with the jaw, how you kind of see the mouth that kind of goes past where the mouth should go. And I mean, he's not a must-have at this point, but he's definitely most likely. We'll wait to see him in person in the store. I also don't love the skeleton sticking out of the bag. This next one, he's kind of like a gargoyle, and he is not one I plan to get or use at all this year. So we're gonna bring him down here. Up next, we have our Haunted Mansion props. And this one, probably not getting. And the Knight I did like a little better, so, you know, he's not a definite by any means. Right now he's a possibility. And if I get him, he would join the Monstars section right up front. And if I don't get him, well, you know, maybe I'll wait to see if he goes on clearance, although he sold out pretty quick on the first drop, so we'll see if we find him. The Reaper Band is another great example of something that doesn't really fit my themes. I do like them. I think you kind of have to go all or nothing with them, but I'm gonna go with nothing and not get those guys for this season. Okay. I'm in love with the aquatic theme, and we're going to add a whole new scene dedicated to them. So these guys are must-haves for me. The Kraken, can't wait for him to drop. The Fisherman. Now, some of these I actually already purchased. You might have seen my demo videos. Out of everything I've dragged over so far, I have everything but the Kraken. I do have this switch as well. So if I got them already, I mean, that pretty much qualifies them as must-haves, right? with the Wednesday lineup, I do like Wednesday. She, for me, is a must-have. But she's really the only one in that collection that is a must-have. She's going in with the Monstars as well. And my idea is to put her with Poe. I got Edgar Allan Poe from Distortions. And we'll put them together with the Archway as Nevermore Academy. So the Archway is not a 100% yes. I have to see that in person first. So we'll actually put that into the most likely category for now. But Cousin It, he's really not doing it for me. Kind of probably somewhere in the possibly or probably not. We'll go probably not. On clearance, maybe. Crack Zone looks good. I don't really need him. I don't think he's necessarily worth over $400. He's another one that would probably not be during the season, but again, always like a 50% off sale. If Lowe's drops him the week before Halloween, that's a possibility. Okay, I already got this clown. Love him. I've already done a demo video on him. We have, this guy reminds me of Jack Carver, who I already got from Spirit last year. And as a result, if I didn't have little Jack Carver, good chance I'd consider him, but since I do have Jack Carver, we're gonna put him in the probably not. Wouldn't say definitely not. This guy is a no. Okay, this is the generic witch. I think she's going for like 80 bucks if I remember that correctly. I actually think she looks good, especially for the price point. But at this point, I have so many props that I need to really focus on getting stuff that's a little bit higher end. And that's the only reason I'm putting her into the probably not category. This witch has not dropped yet, but we do like her a lot. Just about a must-have. I'll put her as a most likely. Definitely want to see her in person. Okay, that concludes everything we know about Lowe's so far. And Lowe's, I think, released somewhere around 20-ish props so far. Looking like a pretty good lineup overall. When you see where things are falling, a lot of must-haves, but also a lot of stuff that we're gonna skip. Okay, Home Depot is up next. Now, Home Depot, I truly believe we've only seen roughly a little more than half of their lineup at this point. I do wish we got to see it all before I made this video. Maybe we'll do an update eventually when they do release the rest. This tree, I mean, it's tricky for me because I do a forest setup, so trees are naturally part of my display, and I would love to add in any other trees that are props as well. I like him. I think he's gonna look really great, but he's also not a must-have. He's somewhere in the probably, possibly, let's put him possibly. I'd also probably want to get a couple of them if I did decide to get them. The first time I saw him, it was a yes, I'm getting him. But then when they showed us this guy over here, the Deadwood, I mean, he kind of took the tree priority for me. So he's the one that's the must-have. We might still get him as well, but we'll see. Okay, I do already have Dean. I have Marie. So, you know, makes sense to add the Gambler in for this year as well. I'm not going to put him as a 100% have to get him, but there's a solid shot, really good chance that we will pick him up. Moving on to, they're calling him Doulahan, but I am calling him the Headless Horseman. Think he's just about the best Headless Horseman prop I've seen so far. And I do have the other ones. I have the old one from Home Depot, and I have the one that Costco put out. either last year or the year before. So I'll have 3 of them now once I find him. Love that we did get a pirate from Home Depot as well. Add that in with the aquatic theme. That's definitely a must. All right, I can't even see that. Oh, that's a little bat, and it's just like a little accent piece, but I think throwing him in with the vampires is probably going to happen. But since it's such a small thing, if we find him, great. If we don't, no biggie. Okay, pumpkin stacks, I do think they look good. I might even think they look a little better than the original, but I have the original. So this is, you know, how many pumpkin stacks can you really get? Maybe get one and kind of lay them separately, not stack them, and just use them as pumpkins. But it's not a high priority, not something I feel is a strong need. So we'd probably be somewhere in the possibly to probably not. Possibly 1. I'm not gonna go crazy with those. All right, the vampire. I think they call him the Victorian vampire. He looks pretty good from the picture of the box that was recently posted. I do love my vampire scene, and you know, we're not adding so much to that scene this year, so he's going to be for sure a nice addition. People were calling him Nosferatu, but I actually did pick up the one from Distortion, so if he actually looked a lot like that, I was going to pass, but I think he looks significantly different enough that we're gonna say we're going to get him. But we'll wait to really make that official call when we see him in store. So for now, he's almost a definite. Okay, the dog, Skelly's dog, I did purchase him. I did like him. He's a little on the kid-friendly side for me, but that's good in a way as well. He is, I know I should put him in the must-haves because I purchased him, but I actually did not keep him because I wasn't sure. So I'm going to decide officially, you know, once they drop again in August or July, whenever that may be. So for now, we'll keep him as a most likely. All right, moving to the next row in Home Depot. Here's their generic witch. I do not think she looks as good as the Lowe's one, so we'll put her as a definitely not. This little statue would look great in the cemetery, so if we find it in the store, that's going to be just about a definite purchase. I don't think it's quite a tombstone, but it has that kind of vibe. Next up, we have the Scarecrow. I think he would look great in the Cornstalkers, so he's a pretty solid pickup for me. The 12-foot, the Inferno Reaper, probably messed up his name. The 12-foot Reaper, love this guy. I think he is probably going to be the best 12-footer of the season, but we haven't seen a whole lot about him yet. Definitely a reskin of the whole witch idea. Coming up off the broom, he's coming up off his sickle, and the picture I did see, he looked awesome, so we're gonna be adding him for sure. Now, I did pick up Frankenstein. A little torn. I like him. He looks a little shiny in some pictures. So he's another one that, you know, I'm not entirely sure I'm keeping, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna add him in this year. And last but not least, this Plague Doctor. I do have the Spirit Halloween one, which I definitely think looks a little better than this guy here. So we're gonna probably say that we'll pass on that one. I mean, if he looks really good in store, he might be a pickup, but probably not. Okay, moving on to our third store, Party City. I did put Cackles since he's being reintroduced this year. I'm actually a little bit annoyed that they dropped the price so much on these guys because I purchased him, you know, brand new when he came out a couple of years ago. And all the other 12-footers as well. I mean, they're all marked down to like $350 now. Got the Wendigo last year, got the Pumpkin guy last year for $500, and now they're $350. So, you know, I guess it pays to wait. But Cackles is going to be, I mean, since I own him, not from this season, from 2 seasons ago, we're not going to get another one at this point. I did not ever watch the movie Terrifier, and I don't really have too much interest adding art in with the Monstars, so we're going to say he's a probably not. Maybe I'll watch the movie between now and Halloween and change my mind, but for now, he's a no. Okay. Embers. I liked him a lot when he first dropped, when the pictures first dropped. I really like him even more now that I've seen some pictures of people putting black lights on him, and I think he really looks good. Gonna try to get him. Party City is a little funny with me. My stores that are local don't get a lot of this stuff, or they get it late. So if it's a matter of driving an hour to find him, you know, we might skip on him. So I'm not going to put him in the definite category, but if I find him and I can get a hold of him, we're going to pick him up. And we'll add him in with the Cornstalker's Maze. All right. This is the Beetlejuice. I added it, even though it's an inflatable. I think it's a mix of like an animatronic and an inflatable. He's pretty tall and kind of interesting looking. I do have Beetlejuice from Spirit, and I love that one, so I don't see a reason to get another one. Okay, Pale Girl. Again, I never saw the movie, but to me, she looks like a better animatronic. Like if I just threw her into the carnival tent, she'd get by. Or maybe even like transitioning between the carnival and the sewer, where there's already like the raccoon popping out of the trash can, like she'd be a good transition piece. Where Nozzles was last year, maybe in that area. So I'm not gonna put her as low as art. We'll put her as a possibility, and see what happens. Okay, the goat, 2-headed goat. I don't love Party City's lineup this year as much as I have in previous years. There's only a few that I really, really want, and this is one of the better ones. So we're gonna add him into the most likely category. All right, this is the Claw Bear, where it's basically a copy of the Popcorn Clown they released a couple years ago. Have the Popcorn Clown, love the Popcorn Clown. Since this would really be the same effect, I don't see the need, and I don't like this one as much anyway. So he's gonna be a probably not. Okay. Now, here's one that you're probably going to disagree with me. I do think he looks really good. Most people are saying this is one of the best ones they're putting out this year. I mean, I do agree. He is one of the best that they're putting out. My big thing is I was running a lot of fog machines last year, and I started having some problems with power and maintaining power. I had to actually turn off a couple of fog machines. So he's a little bit lower on my list just because I'm trying really not to add fogging props as much. And I know you're gonna say, well, you just put the goat as a most likely getting, and he uses fog as well. There's different kinds of fog props. There's fog props where you could display them without the fog and they'll still look pretty good. And then there's fog props where without the fog, they just look kind of silly. So this is one that really needs the fog to look good and to give the real effect. So because of that, we're gonna put him as a possibly. Okay, sticking again with our pirate underwater theme, this guy for me is my Party City must-have. Really hope I could find him. I'll be very sad if I cannot. I'm gonna probably also take off his wings because that part to me doesn't make that much sense, and we'll display him without. I don't know what this was supposed to be. Is it like an Ellie Hatchet part 2 or something like that? But we're gonna go with no. Okay, so this is kind of interesting how all the rows are sort of evening out. Wasn't done on purpose. I'm just kind of running through this on a whim here. This is like a little lamppost, and I do think it looks good. I just think it needs to be taller than 4 feet. And because of that, we're gonna kind of be between these, probably not to possibly, but leaning more towards probably not. All right, we're down to our last store. Now I did purposely save Spirit for last because so far it is my opinion that they are the best lineup of the year. I didn't feel that way the last couple of years, but they picked up their game for sure. They have some brand new technology. They have a big lineup. If you count up these props here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on top, 15, 16, 17, 26 that we know of so far. That's not to say there won't be a couple more surprises. They have the biggest lineup and a lot of really good ones. Some of which I've already purchased because they release props throughout the year. We have the Cremator up first. I wish it did a little bit more than it does. It's mainly a static prop, has some lights and stuff, but I think it looks really good. So we're definitely gonna add them into the possibilities category. Okay, this clown with the cotton candy, I think Cotton Candy Dan is his name. I think he has a really great face. I love the idea of putting him with Cotton Candace, and I have the Home Depot clown holding cotton candy from a couple of years ago, so I just feel like he'll complete that little section inside the carnival tent. He's pretty high on my list. I did see a demo video. He didn't look as good as Spirit's video, but I still think he's good enough to definitely give an ad. Creepy Towering Clown is being re-released this year. I already do own him from previous years, so obviously it does not make sense to get him again. Now again, just a reminder, putting something low on a list does not mean that I think it's a bad animatronic at all. I actually own a lot of these, and that's why they're down there. I mean, Cackles for a long time was my favorite 12-footer of all time. So, you know, he's not down there because I don't like him. He's only down there because I already have him. In fact, let's find the other ones. I already have Twitching Banshee. Love her too. And I do already have Cerberus. So, we're not getting more of them, but we already have them. Not bad props by any means. If I thought they were, I wouldn't own them in the first place. Okay. This guy, I normally don't go for those little tombstone looking guys like Eternal Rest from last year, and I have this one that kind of bobs around behind the tombstone. With the green eyes, I think he kind of looks not bad, halfway decent, to the point that I would have considered him. But being that my collection's already so massive and I don't have a ton of room to be hitting that much new stuff, we're gonna add him to the probably not. Okay. Now, this groundbreaker looking guy kind of reminds me of Demonica reskin, I guess I would say. It's hard to tell. Like, he looks pretty good. His phrases are so-so. I like him. I would probably put him with my demons if I got him. but I'm not convinced that I'm definitely going to get him. So we'll add him to the possibly getting category. Okay. This Scarecrow, I want to like him more than I do. He's kind of cutesy, but a little creepy at the same time. Kind of got that, 12-foot witch vibe again of that broomstick, or he has like a sickle. Or no, he has a pitchfork that he holds on to, and he looks like he's floating, so I like that. I'm gonna go with possibly. I'm not gonna say no. Definitely not gonna say yes. All right, we do have another art. I guess if I had to say which art would I get, Spirits or Party Cities. Oh, this is not art. This is Clowning Around, sorry. There is another art coming up though. Clowning Around, I already bought him, and he actually had really good reviews. He got over 1 million views in a month, so really, really happy to get him. Glad they re-released him. He was a really hard prop to find prior to this season, and I saw them going for like $1,000 online. I was really happy to get him for $300 and brand new. Demonica, I did pick her up this year. There's so many better props coming out though that I'm not tied to her as a must-have. And you're gonna say, well, again, how do you have her and say she's not a must-have? Well, I'm selling some stuff, I'm downsizing, I'm trying to move some things around, so she's not one I'm totally committed to keeping. We'll see what happens. The string puppet is awesome. One of the best things they're releasing this year. Very unique, very cool. My idea is to actually, if the height works out, make Cackles his puppeteer. I think that would be really cool. If the top of his strings reach one of Cackles' hands, basically, it'll look like he's a marionette for Cackles. We'll see what happens. Won't be able to try that out until I have Cackles set up and this guy set up as well. I do love the Ringmaster. I think he looks great. The big problem is we have so many clowns, and we got Carnival Barker last year. So, does it make sense to get a second one? So, if I didn't have I would have gotten him definitely, but since we do, let's put him as possibly. All right. Webby, whatever her name is, the spider. Love it. Very unique design. I've actually looked into some of the Unit 70 props because I've really wanted a spider monster. And now we're getting a reasonably priced one from Spirit. She's high priority for me, and can't wait to see her in person. Ghostface, it is what it is. He's a Monstar. He's one of the main characters you'd expect to see. I have the little one that Spirit put out a few years ago that pops out sideways, like the Huntress reskin. So, do I need another one? It might be more like get this one and sell that one, or it's something I'm going to want to see in person, I guess. So let's leave them as possibly for now. Okay, here's the other art. I do think Spirit's one was a little on the cheaper side. I think he was $200, and I think Party Cities was $250. Could be wrong. But we'll kind of just put them both in the same category there as a probably not. I already have Mike Myers, so again, cool that they're making another one. but what's the reason to get another one if the one I already have is in good condition? I do love the Terror Dog. I don't love the price tag. He's not something I can even get right now if I wanted to, because he's sold out. I hesitated when they released him. I almost purchased him, and I decided to wait, and now, you know, he's not available. I do think he'll restock. I do think there's a solid chance I'll get him. I just don't know if it's most likely or possibly. Since there's 2 strikes, A, he might not restock, and B, even if he does, I still might not get him. Let's put him as possibly. The bear. I want to love the bear so much because I do love Monty so much, and this is, to me, a little bit of a Monty reskin. I know his motion's a little bit unique where he's balancing on the ball, and the ball's a little wobbly. So, I mean, we're gonna go somewhere in the possibly. So I gave the Death Ray example before, that since he's an alien and I do not have an alien theme, there's probably not too much reason to get him. Maybe my stretch for him would be to put him with like the Cornstalkers, Crop Circles, aliens. Again, it's a stretch. If I find any other alien stuff that I could put with him and make a small scene with him, then he'd move up to more like the possibly getting. But for now, we're probably gonna pass on him. I like him a lot. I just don't really have a place for him. But I like him a lot, so I can't put him in the definitely not either. Okay, Corpse Bride. So I love the look of both. And I think that they'll go really nicely next to the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff that I already have. We'll throw them into Monstars, and as long as we find them in store, they'll be purchased. Okay, so here we have some brand new technology. Supposedly this guy is going to sort of follow your movements and I guess look at you or look in your direction as you're passing by. It's a really good looking clown, and you know, holding a lollipop. I don't love the lollipop. I already have the Lowe's clown holding the lollipop. Maybe I'll get this guy and replace the Lowe's one. We'll put him as, I'm gonna say most likely. I don't know, I guess this one's just a budget prop, but I did not really like anything about it when I saw it. This is like a Desmodus mech where she jumps up. She looks pretty good. I think she's smaller though. I mean, I could definitely see putting her in the cemetery, but I'm not like so thrilled with her that she's something I have to get either. I did sell Mr. Dark, and this witch supposedly is basically a Mr. Dark reskin. I did get Hellspawn. I have Hellspawn, so I'd have her and Hellspawn if I do pick her up. Not totally committed to getting her either. I do think she looks pretty good though. Let's go most likely. Okay, last but not least, I mean, this thing is totally unique. I love how the pumpkin face is carved into the human face. And then she's also just wearing this nice little dress. But I think she would look pretty cool in the Cornstalkers maze. So we're gonna be on the lookout for her for sure. I think she's gonna be a really good one for this season. That's really unique. All right, there's our list so far. The honorable mentions, Morris Costumes is putting out a few animatronics. A must-have is the Sword Swallower, 100% to add to the Carnival tent. And they have a clown that's kind of balancing on a pole. I'm going to put him in the most likely category. I didn't include them here because they're not one of the 4 major box stores, and they only put out a couple of things from what I could tell. But yeah, tell me if you agree. Tell me if you think anything should be moved to a higher category. You know that I do a very big book through, and I do get a lot of props every year. So in reality, the must-haves you'll 100% see. The most likelies you'll probably 100% see. The possibly getting, you'll probably 90% see. At least 80% of them, I would say. The probably nots, though, I'm going to really try to stay away from. So hopefully nothing on those bottom 2 rows. And most of the stuff from the top 3 rows. And things will depend again on, does Terror Dog restock? When I see it in person, does it look better or worse than I thought it would? You know, Home Depot still has a few tricks up their sleeves. When we get to see what else they're releasing, I'm sure that might knock some other things around if something looks better or worse when they show us the rest of their stuff. You know, maybe they put out a better looking, I don't know, let's say witch, and then, you know, she gets bumped down to a possibly. But we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, have a good night, and we will hopefully update this video soon.